Hi, I'm Wendy Brookman from NACCHO, coming live from Parliament House to discuss the budget that was just released this evening. Joining me, I've got our NACCHO Chair, Mr. John Singer. John, with the new budget out, what impact does this have on our 144 members now that we've got the new funding model?
Thanks, Wendy. I think the major announcement tonight's budget around the new funding model for Aboriginal community-controlled health organisations is in, I suppose, a bit of a surprise. We were still working through a lot of the areas within the funding methodology through the two working groups that we have in place. So that caught us a little bit by surprise, the announcement within the budget. I think in terms of some of the parts of the new funding model where they've said that they want to abolish the 7 inconsistent KPIs. And I think that's something that we've lobbied for and asked for. So that was good in that terms. I think the other announcement as part of it, moving towards 5-year contracts, I think our members will really welcome that in terms of being able to have longer term strategic planning, as well as having being able to then to really focus on longer term sort of goals. It'll make it a lot easier for our members. I think for those organisations or members of ours that are deemed to be organisations of concern, they will be given 1-year contracts and dependent on I suppose how they move out or how they go about dealing with those concerns, they'll be taken at a 1-year sort at a time. So I think again, there's small parts of the new funding model that we think are good, but again, there's still a lot of questions we'd want to ask, and you know, I think the Minister has said that there's opportunity through the working groups to still work on certain aspects of the funding methodology, and the government want to roll that out and implement that from the 1st of the 7th 2019. So we're hopeful that there is enough room and scope for us to be able to look at the areas that we think need to still be addressed under the new funding model. So with that funding model that has been released, can you give us the positives from that funding model? So the key ones that sort of stuck out to you, because obviously we are a little bit taken back by the budget. So tell us just more so the positive sides of it. Well, I think overall, when you look at the Indigenous affairs and the Indigenous budget, you know, it's pretty disappointing, I think, when you look at there was only 27 words within the whole budget that underlined the spending around and highlighted Pacific Indigenous health spending and other areas. Again, at the back, so I think that's something that we're used of, that when governments, you know, talk about having savings, you know, measures, and, you know, it always seems to be a lot of our organisations or a lot of the Aboriginal dollars that seem to get cut. So I don't think there's been a real huge injection of dollars that will come into a lot of Aboriginal organisations, particularly our members. I think that, you know, again, through the working groups with the funding methodology, we really want to look at making sure that our organisations have needs-based funding, that there's scope for growth within our organisations, because with a growing young population, we'll have 1 million Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander people by 2030. That's not too far down the track. So I think, you know, in terms of that young population, we should, and government particularly, should be looking at how do they make sure that we have the ability to grow our organisations. And on the other side of that was also the mention around the coalition's, you know, slogan. They want to get individuals from welfare, particularly New Start, into the workforce. So we see ourselves, NACCHO, and particularly our members on the ground, having a long history of being able to provide employment opportunities, pathways, and then within our membership be able to develop and give more skills to community members, give them good employment, So I think in terms of that area, we should be really seen as one of the main areas for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander employment, our members across the country.
Well, that's right. Obviously, you know, we employ over 6,000 staff, and we are the leading and largest Indigenous employment agency or company out there. Is there anything else that you want to get across through the information we've got from this budget that's going to have a ripple effect with our community?
Well, again, just off the information we've got tonight, looks disappointing in some areas. Doesn't look like there's been a huge injection of dollars within the whole areas of Aboriginal affairs, let alone Aboriginal health. So hopefully as we get a bit more look at the detail over the next few weeks, we'll be able to really have a look to see whether there has been a concerted effort by the Commonwealth Government to invest the dollars into an organisation like NACCHO and into our members who have a long history of delivering evidence-based programs that have been leading the way in terms of making a difference in our communities.
Yeah.
We've been way ahead, and again, it's sad that we have to really come to the party all the time and really, you know, look and see that there hasn't been support from government, because at the end of the day, we're going to be here. We have a long-term investment. Our community understands the way we operate, so hopefully, you know, in the next few weeks when we really look at the detail, we might find some extra dollars. But again, you know, I wouldn't say this has been a big win for Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander peoples.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time this evening. While the budget is disappointing for all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, NACCHO will continue to move forward and work with the government to make the changes that's required and make sure we start to put our health back in our hands.